Hey guys, welcome back to our core data project. So last time out we added the ability to edit teams in core data, which is nice. So that takes us to another view controller and we can edit the teams and save that into core data. What we're going to do today, we're going to have the ability to save a date into core data as well. And we're going to do this with a UI date picker. It's quite easy to add. So let's head out to Xcode now and let's do that. Okay, so we're back inside good old Xcode. So let's have a look where we are. So we need to, in our setup UI, we're going to need to add a date picker in there. So let's run the project and just see whereabouts this date picker is going to sit. So we click on add. So we've got a little background there, a little red background. We just need to make that a little bit bigger. So we can do that by just adjusting the constant on the light red background view. So if we come inside setup UI, we can say equal to constant, say 250 for now inside the height anchor. We may need to make that a little bit bigger later on, but we'll go with that for now. So we click on add and we can see that's made room now for our date picker to go into, and we just need to anchor that to the bottom of the name label and the text field. So before we do that, let's create, like we have done before, we'll create a date picker inside a closure. So just let date picker of type UI date picker is equal to a empty closure constructed, and then we'll say let date picker is equal to UI date picker, and we'll say date picker mode is going to be of type date. Then we need to set the usual date picker dot translates auto resizing mask to false, which I've gone into over in another video. And then we just need to set the date picker value. So this is going to be for the color, because we don't want the default color. We want to change that to white. So we say set the value to UI.white, and then for the key text color. And we're getting an error because we're not returning from the closure. So there we go. So now we've made our date picker. It's basically available for us to use now. So what we need to do, we need to add that inside this setup UI function with constraints, and like we have done before. So we need to say view.add subview date picker. Nothing new here. Date picker.constraint. And if you think about where this needs to go, it needs to be constrained to the bottom of the name label. So we'll say the top anchor of the date picker constraint is going to be equal to, so let's try that again, constraint, wrong constructor. It's going to be equal to the name label's bottom anchor. We'll activate that while we're here. Equals true. So yeah, that's basically how it's going to work. It's so anytime, don't know what I've done there. So anytime the name label moves, the date picker should move with it. So that's why we're kind of using that as our constraint. And then if you think about what else we need, we're going to need to constrain it to the left. So this is going to be constraint equal to the view's left is active equal to true. And it's also going to need some kind of height. So we'll firstly put it to the bottom anchor. Dot constraint equal to the, if you think about where we're adding it inside the light red background view. So we need to constrain it to the bottom anchor of that rather than the view, otherwise it'll go all the way down to the bottom. We don't want that. So the date picker dot right anchor as well is going to be the view's right anchor, and is active equal to true. So let's just run that. So we should see, so we click on add. So there you go. So there you can see it's right at the bottom of the name label, but it's also anchored to the bottom of the light red background view, which is nice. That's exactly what we want. So that's looking fine. So what we're going to do now, let's head over to Team Controller. In order to save a date into core data, we're going to need to format it. So we're going to do that inside our cell, because that's where we want to display the date. So, but before we can display it, we need to format it. So if we just come under where we're printing the name of the team, let's just make a little bit of room, and then we're just gonna create an if let statement here. So we're gonna say, so we want to grab a team at the index row before we do that. So let's just say let team equal to core data teams as usual index path dot row, and then so we've got our team at the index, and then we can just say if let, we can just say a temporary variable t is equal to our team name, and then what we want to do here is let create is equal to the team dot created. Now created, we haven't actually created that yet, which will live inside core data. This is how we're going to store the date. So that's quite easy to do. We just need to activate this by heading over to core data. Let's bring up our model, and then we just need to add an extra attribute in here. So we'll just call that created, and it's going to be of type date. So once we do that and we do a build, so you will need to do a build in order to activate it, that should come to life. So we've got some yellow squigglies because we're not using them yet, but we will do. So now what we need to do, we need to create some kind of string. So we need to first of all just create a date formatter. So let date formatter equal to date formatter, and then we can use that by saying date formatter dot date format. Now I'm in the UK, so I'm going to be using a day, month, year syntax, but feel free to use whatever it is applicable to you, wherever you are. And now we just need to create a string in order for us to display it in the cell. So let created string is equal to date formatter of type string, and then we can just pass in our create. So basically what we're saying is if a team has a date attached to it, then go ahead and display it. If not, then we just want to display the team name. So now we can just say let date string equal to, and then we can just use some interpolation here. So our temporary t, which is basically our team at the path, at our index path, and we could just say created, and then pass in the created string we've just created with the date formatter, and then we can just say cell.textLabel.text is equal to that date string. And if it hasn't got a date, then we can just say else, just return a normal cell.textLabel.text, which is just equal to a team.name. So that's going to be a team without a date. So we should get the two types, because we're creating a date formatter to display that created string for us. So let's just run that. And if we add a team, now we're not going to see anything just yet, but let's just make sure we don't get any crashes. So we add a team, which is great. We used the date picker, but it didn't actually save. And the reason for that is we're not saving it to core data. So we need to do that. So let's head over to create team controller, I think, and do that now. So think about where we need to add this save. We've obviously got two locations, which is save team changes. So we need to add our date in here. So team.created is equal to the date picker above, which we've created, and that's date picker.date. So that is when we're editing team changes, we can save. And also when we do a new team and we actually pick a date, we want to be able to save the date as well. So we can do that under set value. So team.setValue, same syntax, and it's just going to be datePicker.date for the key, which is created in our data model. So now let's run that, and we should see, let's just put a team in there, give them a date, just some random date, and there we go. So we're saving the date into core data and we're displaying it in the cell, which is fantastic. That's exactly what we want. But what we need to do is be able to edit that, and as you can see, it takes us back to the current date, which is not what we want. We actually want to take us over to the date we want to edit. So that should have said the date which we set. That's an easy fix. We just come up to our property up here, our property observer. So where we're setting the name text field dot text equal to team.name, just under that we need to create a guardlet statement, because it is an optional. So guardlet created equal to team.created else return. And then we just need to use that. So datePicker.date equal to created. And what that will do, when we slide across, we choose edit, it will keep the date. So that should say the 25th of the 11th, 2017. And it does. Whereas before it was taking us to the current date, which was not what we wanted. So I think we'll probably leave it there for today. There's some other functionality that we need to add for our custom cell and things like that, but I think we'll keep it a short video today and leave it there. But yeah, so now we can save dates into core data. So yeah, good job. So that's another video done. We're now saving dates into core data. So it just gives you a little bit more experience with saving different data types into core data. And you can see it was really easy to amend our model. So the next time, what we're going to do, we're going to make a custom cell, and we're gonna start to really move this on now and start it to look like the way we want it to. As usual, just leave a comment, subscribe, and of course you can message me on Twitter and Instagram. But until the next video, I'll catch you then.